Empire, the rise of Raghav Sharma. In the forgotten village of Narayanpur, tucked deep within the heart of Madhya Pradesh, a child named Raghav Sharma was born into silence, not celebration. His parents, Dharamveer and Meera, struggled daily to make ends meet, surviving on hope and the meager wages earned from a stone quarry and hand-stitched clothes. They dreamed of sending their son to school, but fate had carved out a crueler path. When Raghav was just 7, a landslide at the quarry took Dharamveer's life. The village mourned, but the silence at Raghav's hut was eternal. Only a year later, Meera succumbed to a long-neglected illness. The boy was now an orphan. The orphanage in Sihor was a grim place for a child with nothing but memories. Raghav quickly learned the rules of survival: eat fast, speak less, fight back when needed. But what set him apart was his hunger, not for food, but for knowledge. Old, torn books were his treasure, and school was his escape. A kind-hearted teacher named Mr. Suresh noticed Raghav's spark. He offered him second-hand books, extra lessons, and, eventually, a chance to apply to a better government school in Bhopal. With fierce dedication, Raghav topped his exams and was accepted. In Bhopal, everything was overwhelming: bigger buildings, faster lives, unfamiliar faces, but Raghav adapted. He would wake at 4 a.m. to deliver newspapers and spend evenings tutoring younger students. Every rupee he saved went toward buying textbooks or paying school fees. He studied under streetlights when the hostel power cut out and skipped meals to afford exam registrations. His only luxury was the belief that he could one day change his fate. Raghav finished high school with top marks and received a scholarship to the prestigious National Institute of Business and Entrepreneurship in Indore. The transition wasn't easy. Surrounded by students with fluent English, branded shoes, and smartphones, he felt like a misfit. But he reminded himself, "They may be ahead, but I've run a longer race." He spent nights watching free online lectures, listening to English audiobooks, and pushing himself to speak up in class. Slowly, respect replaced ridicule. At 22, inspired by his own struggles and the lack of basic services in rural areas, Raghav launched his first startup, Go, a hyperlocal delivery app designed to connect remote villages with essential services. His roommate and best friend, Karan Mehta, joined him. They pooled together 18,000 Indian rupees, borrowed scooters, and made deliveries themselves. What started as an experiment quickly gained traction. Word spread across neighboring villages. Orders grew. So did their team. By age 25, Go was operating in 3 states and had caught the attention of angel investors. Raghav's story, from orphan to entrepreneur, went viral after a journalist featured him on a startup blog. Investment offers poured in. Within a year, Go was valued at 100 Indian rupees crore. The media dubbed him the rural Robin Hood. He was invited to TEDx talks, university panels, and even featured on a Netflix documentary series. Life had transformed. Raghav moved into a plush apartment in Mumbai. His wardrobe changed, his phone was the latest iPhone, and he now spoke fluent English on TV interviews. He had arrived. But the higher you rise, the thinner the air gets. Success began to cloud his judgment. Investors pushed for rapid expansion. Go expanded to 9 states in just 18 months. Offices were opened, teams were hired, apps were redesigned, but something vital was lost: purpose. Raghav was no longer in the villages talking to customers. He was now in glass offices, flying business class, attending gala nights, and speaking at forums. His trusted friend Karen warned him, "We're scaling too fast. We're losing the ground connection." But Raghav was intoxicated by the speed of growth. He ignored the red flags. The cracks began to show. Logistics failed in newer regions. The app faced server issues. Complaints flooded in. Their burn rates skyrocketed. A scandal broke out when one of the regional heads was caught siphoning company funds. By the time Raghav realized the depth of mismanagement, it was too late. Investors pulled out. One by one, partnerships collapsed. Vendors stopped supplying. Employees quit. Within months, Grameengo was on the verge of bankruptcy. Headlines flipped overnight. From "the boy who beat poverty" to "another startup bubble burst." Raghav became a cautionary tale. His accounts were frozen. Income tax notices piled up. His luxurious flat was auctioned. Karen, though heartbroken, walked away. "You've changed, Raghav. This wasn't the dream we built." Raghav hit rock bottom. He found himself back in Indore, sleeping on a friend's sofa, staring at the ceiling, asking, "Where did I go wrong?" For the first time in years, there were no calls, no interviews, no cameras, only silence. It was in this silence that Raghav rediscovered something he had lost: clarity. He revisited the villages that once praised him. People still remembered him, not for the downfall, but for what he once gave. "Aapa the to dawai milti tea time pe," one elderly woman said. Children smiled when they saw him. Despite the failure, he had made a difference. He spent the next 6 months documenting every mistake, every misstep. He read case studies of failed startups, sought mentorship, and even went through therapy. He learned humility. And then he began again. This time, not with investors or media hype, but with purpose. He launched Jeevansetu, a hybrid platform focused solely on providing last-mile health, education, and financial services to tribal and remote villages, starting with the poorest districts of Chhattisgarh. He collaborated with NGOs instead of corporates, recruited locals instead of professionals, and created a self-sustaining model where villagers owned micro-franchises of the services offered. The comeback wasn't glamorous. There were no media interviews, no viral videos. But it was real. Slowly, Jeevansetu became a lifeline in over 400 villages. Raghav refused investment offers unless they aligned with the company's values. He appointed Sonal Deshmukh, a grassroots leader and education activist, as co-founder. Together, they built something not scalable in size, but in impact. Years later, when Jeevansetu won the United Nations Social Innovation Award, Raghav took the stage in a simple kurta. His speech was brief: "We must never let success take us so high that we forget the soil we rose from." Raghav Sharma, once an orphan,